Hello again, welcome back to Let's Do More Business News. The issue of high lending rates and lack of access to credit has been the bane of businesses in the economy for some time now. Over time, a number of measures have been introduced to help lower interest rates. The Bank of Ghana on Monday at the Monetary Policy Committee outlined a number of measures to help deal with the high interest rates in Ghana. On the PM Express Business Edition, my colleague Philip Namfuri has actually empaneled group of astute men to help us understand if these policies will bite. He joins me in the studio now, and thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're using the word astute, but anyway.
That's how I was laughing anyway. All right, first of all, before we go into the PM Express, I want to seek your thought on the Afrobarometer survey by the CDD, and despite the banking sector brouhaha, the cleanup and everything, we are being told that Ghanaians actually feel that financial institutions are the most trusted institutions, followed by mobile money services. What do you make of that?
Okay, Sandra,
and why? What could be the reason?
Okay, thank you very much. I discussed this earlier on the marketplace with our colleague Emmanuel Abajewiafe, and at the time I hadn't really scattered the report as much as I would have liked, but I still managed to go through it, and I saw that the results were very interesting. I mean, if you look at the respondents surveyed and then talking about the fact that banks are still the most safe place for people to keep their funds, followed by mobile money. The mobile money part was of interest to me because I'm sure in the minds of some people, mobile money funds sit separately, but the funds must be housed in a financial institution. So you may see it on your phone, but within the system is being lodged in a bank. So it all comes back again to the bank. That's what system. I feel. Okay. I may be wrong, but then it went on to talk about the savings and loans, and then the category that got least attention was the traditional susu collectors. And over time, that form of banking involves a lot of trust, because you don't have any physical structure whatsoever, and in fact the entire financial institution is built on trust, because if you put your money in a bank A and tomorrow morning you go in the bank, it's not there
but
anymore.
Philip, that's quite interesting, because in the past a lot of people trusted these susu guys to save with them. So what has changed over time for them? Because it's actually the susu that I think has transformed gradually to the savings and loans, and why would people not trust them anymore?
Because times have evolved, and I read somewhere, I don't quite remember, a report where some of the challenges people had were with the fact that these susu collectors can just bolt with your funds. And as financial development has gone on, we've seen that institutions have grown, microfinance, savings and loans, etc. And these institutions come with physical locations which appeal to people who want something tangible to attach to where their money is. So these are some of the factors or reasons that go into it.
All right, so let's come back to the core issue tonight. And Bank of Ghana has instituted some measures, policy measures in the banking sector. Have they been giving us reasons as to why these measures have been put in place?
So over time, different things have been done to make sure that lending rates come down. One of the most recent measures was the Ghana reference rate, a standardized rate where banks will have as a base, then you add a risk premium. So if the Ghana reference rate is 16.2%, and Sandra comes to borrow a loan, we use certain factors, the business you are doing, the area you are working in, the current economic conditions, to add a risk to it. Now, over time, they've seen that there are still other issues involved in there. The banks aren't performing loans. And the interesting part was what they talk about, operational inefficiencies, which are adding to the cost. And by that, they mean, like, to quote from the governor's speech at the Monetary Policy Committee press conference, the high cost of operations of the banks. Some of them also, the monies they dole out to their board and management are to costs. So one of the things that they want to review is the compensation of bankers. So they want to tie it to the performance of the bank. So if your bank is doing well, you are paid well. If your bank is not doing well, then your management cuts down. Because bankers are wealthy, given that. There's also
I don't know about that.
There's also one important part. I have a graph that I would like to show. It was put together by a colleague of mine. His name is Alfred Apia. And you see, as it goes down, this just shows what we call minimum loan to deposit ratio, or a loan to deposit ratio. It simply talks about the fact that when banks accept deposits, a certain proportion goes out as loans. Over time, you've seen that it's been coming down.
Okay.
So banks are making less loans from the deposits they are receiving because they are channeling most of their money to investments. We've discussed this here several times. So this is just one graph that should show, and one of the key things they want to bring a certain ratio to it. So banks should have a minimum loan to deposit ratio of this amount.
Okay.
And then this to see if,
so I'm sure you're going to discuss all these issues tonight on the PMS.
Yes.
Who are your guests? I said astute men, but who are they?
So I have Nanoitwe Champong, a banking consultant. We're very familiar with him, and Professor Eric Osayasibe. He's an economist with the University of Ghana Department of Economics. And we'll see whether these measures will actually have the necessary anchor, if I can call it that. So
impact.
Impact. Thank you very much.
All right, great to have you as always, Philip Namfree. You can join him and his team tonight on a Joy News channel and also on channel 421 on DSTV for the business edition of PM Express. And in commodity news tonight, crude oil sold for $3. Actually, $63.42 a barrel. Gold went for $1,455.69 an ounce. The market update is up next. That's all for business tonight. I am Sandra Esinamak, and for more news, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com/business.